separating and remounting staghorn ferns, repotting some wild ferns growing between cracks, and some general tips. Right now on The Clumsy Gardener.
因為我嚟緊我下一集講缺，哦，講芒。
Hey folks, welcome back. So we've moved a bunch of plants from Mr. and Mrs. Jung's garden to our place. They've already moved a lot of what they could to their new location since they have to move out of Guangzhou. I'll leave previous episodes with them in the description. You can learn a bit about their plant story, if you will. And as you can see, they've shared a lot of orchids with me. I'm going to be hopefully amping up my orchid knowledge over the coming weeks and months and whatnot. But today is about ferns. I've got a couple of staghorns that need to be remounted. Actually, that big one over there, I'll probably try to mount that entire thing if I can, but not yet. I was going to separate those two, but I've actually got these two here that somehow grew around a piece of string. It was mounted on some other surface. Anyway, as you can see, these could use a bit of TLC, so we're going to separate, remount, prune, talk a bit about some basic care, and I've also got plenty of ferns growing wild between the cracks around here, and I'd like to try and migrate some of them to grow them in pots. We'll see how that goes. Let's get it.
I'm careful to separate the ferns that I see here. There's one here and here. You'd split the ferns where the basal fronds meet between the plants. You'll have to carefully get in there and cleanly and sharply cut through the basal fronds. In this case though, a pair of large scissors might work out best.
Okay, so first thing, we're mounting the ferns on natural material that hasn't been chemically treated. So this wooden board has been living outside for a few years now. We're repurposing it. I'll be using the staple gun for the one I'm mounting on the board and screws for the one that we're mounting on the log. Okay, so now here's one that was mounted a few weeks ago onto this board. It's doing quite well, but you can see its largest and oldest leaf has turned brown. And sadly, its youngest frond here was also broken off somewhere along the process. So it's endured a wee bit of stress, but you can see new fronds developing right in there. And you can always prune these old leaves. That's okay. Ferns are pretty darn hardy. I mean, they're prehistoric plants. They've outlasted most things. This one and the other one I've just mounted will go to friends as gifts.
Ferns can be epiphytic, lithophytic, and or terrestrial, meaning their roots could grow on and into surfaces like trees like the staghorns, on rocks or between cracks like these sword ferns, or just straight up in a pot like this bird's nest we got from Mrs. Jung, depending on the variety.
Ouch! So a little bit stressful on them, no doubt, but the idea is we'd like them to establish in these containers and perhaps even develop as houseplants or just, cool gifts. The medium is a mixture of potting soil, some perlite, sphagnum moss, and some small drainage clay balls on the bottom. The moss holds moisture, while the perlite and clay balls ensure drainage because we don't want them soaking in water either, because they could rot. We're also using plastic containers because they'll dry out way too quickly in clay pots. They need that moisture. I may have to move all these ferns to a part of the garden that doesn't get too much direct sunlight because it can burn the fronds or dry them out. Here's one that we migrated a week ago, and it's still looking good. It's firm, it's solid, and still alive. So these guys will all go happily in a similar spot as the orchids, which I'll be sorting out.
Join us next week when we check in on the fern's progress and begin orchid sorting, where I start my journey of repotting, splitting, remounting, trying to identify all the species and their needs, and perhaps set up a few experiments.
Oh, cool. Hanging basket.